Listen to me, daughter. Let me tell you something that might stir your soul and awaken your spirit. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever come across a woman who walks like the world has no hold on her? Not because she's full of pride or thinks she can't be touched, but because she knows she's surrounded by heaven. She doesn't get shaken when life turns dark. She doesn't chase after approval. She enters a room and peace enters with her. Do you know why? Because heaven walks beside her. What many people don't get is that a woman who's walking with God isn't just making it through life. She's being held. Every time she was let down, every betrayal, every tear she cried alone at night, heaven saw all of it. Angels took note. And now they're all around her like soldiers. You might see a peaceful woman, but you don't see the fire that refined her. You don't see the battles that God already won for her. That's why you need to listen to this entire message. Because this isn't just about encouragement. It's about truth. I'm not here to give you a boost for the moment. I'm here to remind you that if you are that woman, or you're becoming her, you need to understand who's standing with you. And it's not just people, it's angels. A woman who walks in faith is never by herself. Even when the room feels empty, even when her phone doesn't ring, even when everything around her feels still, she is never forgotten. There's activity happening in the spiritual realm that eyes can't see. There are heavenly forces, angels assigned to her life. Not because she's flawless, but because she's chosen. Her faith is like a beacon to heaven. Every single step she takes, whether in obedience through pain or with courage, sets into motion the protection and direction of the invisible. There's something powerful about a woman who walks closely with God. Her steps aren't ordinary. Her presence changes the atmosphere, not because of her strength, but because of who's walking with her. When she prays, heaven listens. When she cries, angels hear. She doesn't need to shout to be acknowledged. The spiritual world knows her voice. Her silence carries weight because she understands that not every fight is hers. Sometimes it's the angels who rise up on her behalf. This kind of protection doesn't only show up when trouble comes. It's there all the time. Whether she's laughing or grieving, working or resting, there's always a presence near her. Something is guarding her thoughts, shielding her body, and covering her soul. You see, the woman of faith isn't just moving wisely through life. She's moving with heaven by her side. Her sense of direction is sharp because her spirit hears more than what the natural world offers. Her choices have depth because they are led by spiritual understanding. She knows when to pause. That's not fear. That's divine direction. When you're surrounded by angels, you don't have to hurry. You don't need to stress. Heaven is never rushed, but always right on time. And this woman has learned to walk in that timing. People might not get why things seem to always work out for her. Why doors open. Why attacks fall flat. Why she stays calm. But they don't see what's happening behind the scenes. They don't see the angels at each corner of her life, deflecting danger, turning things around, and keeping her safe from battles she never even knew were coming. It's not that she's just fortunate, it's that she's protected. There were times she nearly broke. There were days the pain felt too much. But somehow, some way, strength showed up, not just inside her, but around her. Sometimes it looked like peace. Sometimes it came through the kindness of someone unexpected. Sometimes the situation simply shifted in her favor. That wasn't luck. That was heaven moving. That was angels fulfilling their mission, to support the one who walks by faith and not by sight. She knows that being protected doesn't mean she'll never face struggle, but it does mean that the struggle won't ruin her. She might walk through dark valleys, but she's never walking through them alone. She might go through fire, but she'll come out without even a trace of the burn. That's the power of angelic covering. She faces what many fear, but she walks through it differently. She rises differently. She heals with a wisdom that feels older than her years. That wisdom didn't come from books. It came from above. Having angels with her has also made her more clear-minded. She's not distracted by every voice. She doesn't get caught up in messes that don't match her purpose. Why? Because when you're walking with angels, you don't have the time or energy to waste on what slows you down. She's learned to sense what builds her and what drains her. She picks up on spiritual battles before they show up in the natural. She can spot a spiritual trap even when it looks like a blessing. That's what real protection means. Not just being safe on the outside, but being wise on the inside. This kind of woman walks with quiet boldness. She knows her worth, not because people say it, because heaven already spoke it. The angels around her don't pamper her. They fight for her. They're not there to boost her ego. They're there to shield her. She's not chasing people's acceptance because she already knows she's accepted by the one who commands the angels. There's power in being invisible to the world, but seen by heaven, even when no one claps for her, sees her growth, or understands her heart. The angels do. And every act of obedience, every moment she chooses grace, every time she gives when no one is watching, angels notice. Not to judge, but to step in, release blessings, and complete divine assignments. Don't mistake her gentleness for weakness. Don't think her quiet means she's absent. She may not speak much, but she's guarded by a heavenly army. She may look alone, but she's surrounded. She may be overlooked by people, but she is not overlooked by heaven. The world might try to shake her, but she won't fall. Because when she moves with faith, heaven gets involved. And when God assigns angels to a woman, there is no earthly or spiritual force that can take away that covering. She's not just getting through life. She's moving through it with glory behind her and purpose in front of her. Every time she makes it through, it becomes a story of grace. Every scar turns into wisdom, and every small step forward is watched and supported by heaven. That's the truth about a woman who's covered by angels. She's not just lucky. She's supported by God. Her strength isn't loud. It doesn't try to get noticed. It's deep, steady, and can't be shaken because it comes from her faith. A woman who draws strength from trusting God doesn't just react to what life throws at her. She answers with a view higher than the problem. She doesn't have to push or force her way. She knows the one who holds the plan. That trust gives her strength that no one can take. Her confidence isn't for show. It's not based on people's approval. It's rooted in a strong knowing that even when she doesn't see how it's all going to work, it will. She's seen it too many times. God always comes through. He doesn't walk away from his daughters. He may allow tough seasons. He may let her feel the pain, the waiting, and the refining, but it's never without reason. And she knows that now. That knowing is where her strength lies. When others fall apart, she gets ready. When others talk, she prays. When others chase attention, she listens for direction. Her strength isn't in trying to do everything herself. It's in surrendering. And in that surrender, she finds power. Not control, but spiritual authority. That strength doesn't look like yelling or showing off. It looks like peace in the middle of chaos, like wisdom when things are confusing, like stillness in a storm. The world calls her weak for being soft, kind, patient, and for believing in a God she can't see. But she knows true power is invisible. It's in the yes that costs her. It's in the no, backed by conviction. It's in her faith that seems crazy to those who live in fear. She doesn't fear walking alone, not because she enjoys being by herself, but because she's never really alone. Her strength is knowing her obedience brings provision. Her prayers move what eyes can't see. Her faith leads her feet when she can't see the road. She doesn't need a promise on paper. One word from God is enough. There's something happening inside her, a quiet shift. She's being changed from the inside out. The world might not notice yet, but everything in her is becoming sharper. Her insight, her boundaries, her inner truth. She doesn't accept what she used to. Not out of anger, but because she knows her worth now. She understands not everything deserves her attention, time, or emotions. That kind of wisdom only comes from walking closely with God. And that closeness is where her strength is built. She doesn't run from pain. She brings it to God. She puts it down and says, I don't get this, but I trust you. And each time she chooses trust over anger, letting go over control, and kindness over bitterness, she grows stronger, not colder, but holier. Not closed off, but more focused. Not proud, but guided by purpose. Her strength isn't just for herself, it reaches beyond her. Her faith breaks generational patterns. Her prayers are paving roads for women she hasn't even met. Her life is becoming something bigger than comfort. Her strength tells a story, not of her own doing, but of what God can do with a woman who gives him everything. Some people won't get it. They don't know what she's been through. They didn't see her pain. They didn't hear the quiet prayers at night. They didn't watch her choose to praise instead of panic. But heaven did, and that history with God, that's her anchor. Every time she kept going when it would have been easier to stop, angels saw it. Every time she let go when holding on would have felt better, God saw it. That's where her strength grew, in the quiet, in the waiting, in surrender. She doesn't follow her feelings. She's learned how to lead them. That's power. When the world tries to pull her in every direction, when fear creeps in, she goes back to God's presence. She feels her pain, but she doesn't let it tell her who she is. She gives it to the only one who can carry it. And in that exchange, pain for peace, fear for trust, she becomes stronger. This kind of strength makes her different. She doesn't need to prove herself. She doesn't need to compete. She supports others because she knows her journey is hers alone. She's not moved by what's popular. She's moved by what's true. And because of that, her words carry power. Her presence heals. Even when she's quiet, people feel hurt. She's not loud, but she's heard. She doesn't stand out to the world, but heaven sees her. And for her, that's enough. Her reward isn't in praise or fame. It's in hearing one thing: well done, good and faithful servant. That's her goal. That's her drive. That's her truth. She is strong, not because life didn't break her, but because it did and she let grace rebuild her. She is strong because she doesn't need to be seen to keep going. Her strength isn't to impress. It's to fulfill purpose, to carry the weight of calling, to love when it's easier to close off, to rise when others stay down, to create what others can't even imagine. She is strong because she walks with God, not from ego, not from pain, not from applause, but from truth. And that kind of strength, it doesn't shake. It doesn't disappear in storms. It grows. It stands firm. It rises over and over again. Because it's not just her. It's the God within her. Spiritual insight is a gift. But for a woman who walks close to God, it becomes second nature. She doesn't just notice people. She notices spirits. She doesn't just hear voices. She hears motives. She doesn't lie by what she sees or feels. Her eyes were trained by trials. Her awareness sharpened in silence. Her spirit refined in time alone with God. She senses when something is off, even without proof. She knows when something unclean enters the space. And no, that's not fear. That's divine protection. She doesn't react to everything because not everything deserves her energy. Her spirit speaks louder than her voice. Her discernment helps her notice what most people miss. While the world rushes into things based on emotions or quick reactions, she takes her time. She listens carefully. She checks the spirit behind situations. She doesn't wait because she's afraid. She waits because she's wise. She doesn't follow trends or opinions. She follows the leading of the Holy Spirit, and that guidance never fails her. Her decisions aren't based on what everyone else thinks is right. Discernment for her is not about pointing fingers at others. It's about sensing the unseen. It's about recognizing when something is truly from God and when it's a distraction disguised as something good. It's how she knows when to speak up and when to stay silent. It's how she chooses peace, even when her emotions are ready for war. She doesn't have to be loud to be right. Her quiet confidence comes from spiritual clarity. When everything around her seems noisy and unsettled, she stays calm. That stillness isn't a lack of awareness. It's alignment with God. She sees things differently because she's been in prayer. Others rely on their five senses, but she leans into her sixth, spiritual discernment. That's how she spots manipulation and recognizes hidden motives. That's how she knows whether someone is meant to stay in her life or simply pass through. It's how she protects her peace without needing to explain herself. Her discernment doesn't come from pride. It comes from her closeness with God. She has spent enough time in His presence to know when something doesn't carry His peace. She's learned through experience that not every smile is sincere. Not every helping hand is actually there to help. Not every open door is meant to be walked through. She's been hurt and fooled enough to trust her spiritual instincts now. She no longer looks for confirmation from people. She already feels it within. She can sense the energy in a room before a word is spoken. She can hear sadness behind laughter and notice jealousy behind a compliment. Her spirit doesn't lie to her. And because she honors that gift, she doesn't make reckless choices. She moves with care, not fear. She speaks with thought, not just feelings. She acts with wisdom, not desperation. Her discernment is like a filter, not to push people away, but to guard what she carries. She knows that her peace, vision, and purpose are too valuable to share with just anyone. Her boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out. They are gates with guards, only letting in what aligns with her spirit. She releases what doesn't match her purpose, and she does so gently, not from bitterness, but from obedience. She's different even in her relationships. She doesn't let emotions or appearances lead her. She watches. She listens. She pays attention to repeated behaviors and the kind of energy people bring into her space. When something feels off, she doesn't ignore it anymore. That internal warning often comes from the Holy Spirit saying, "Not them, not now." And she has learned to listen. That still voice has protected her from heartbreak, from betrayal, from wasted time, and from paths she was never meant to take. It's a sacred voice. Her discernment also helps her examine herself, to notice when she's slipping spiritually, to admit when fear or pride is creeping in. It's not only about others. It's also about being aware of what's happening inside her. She knows when she needs to pause, to pray, to fast, or to rest. That awareness helps her stay grounded. It helps her keep growing even in hard seasons. Some people may not understand why she moves the way she does. They may think she's too quiet or cautious or serious. But what they don't realize is that she's tuned in to something deeper. She's listening to a signal they can't hear. She moves on God's timing, not on the world's schedule. When others rush, she slows down. When others demand decisions, she takes it to prayer. Her discernment has protected her from deep connections that seemed like love, but were really about control. It's helped her avoid environments that would have drained her emotionally and spiritually. It's helped her recognize spiritual warfare, even when it came with kind words and friendly smiles. That's why she can walk into a space and instantly sense whether she's meant to be there. She's no longer afraid of what she doesn't understand. She doesn't need all the answers right away. She only needs to stay in step with the Spirit. That's how she stays covered. That's how she keeps her peace. That's how she makes strong, confident choices and walks away from things that once pulled her in. She's not perfect. She still gets confused. But she keeps coming back to that inner voice, the gentle whisper that says, "This isn't right," or "Something's off." That awareness is her strength now. Discernment is what keeps her from falling apart under pressure. She sees the deeper spiritual battle. So she doesn't waste time arguing in the natural. Her prayers aren't polished. They're powerful. Her worship isn't performance. It's warfare. She's not led by emotions anymore. She's led by divine insight. And that makes her unshakable. It's not just that she sees what others can't. It's that she trusts what her spirit sees more than what her eyes see. She walks by faith. She moves with quiet grace. And discernment protects her like a shield. It grounds her. It guides her. It keeps her focused. Her life isn't made up of random experiences. Every high and low, every setback and breakthrough has been part of God's plan. She knows now that nothing in her journey was by accident. The heartbreaks, the detours, the delays, all of it had purpose. Every piece of her story was shaping her for something greater than she fully understands. She's not walking through life lost. She's walking through a plan so detailed that only God could have written it. Even when things felt dry, God was planting something deep. Even when he seemed silent, he was working behind the scenes. Her faithfulness in quiet seasons didn't go unnoticed. The tears she cried in secret. The choices she made to stay honest. The strength she showed when no one else saw. God saw it all. It's all part of the design. Purpose doesn't always feel exciting. Sometimes it means holding on when you want to let go. Sometimes it's forgiving when bitterness would be easier. She does these things not to look holy, but because she trusts God. She no longer sees delay as rejection. What once felt like no, now feels like redirection. If something didn't work out, it wasn't because she failed. It was because it didn't fit her calling. And alignment matters to her more than approval. She knows timing is everything. Her steps are ordered, and she doesn't force anything anymore. She walks away from things that aren't meant for her, not because she doesn't care, but because she trusts that God would keep it if it was truly hers. That kind of trust didn't happen overnight. It was formed in hard times. It grew in the wilderness. It was strengthened by divine moments that left no room for doubt. Now, she sees pain differently. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Every time life broke her, heaven was building her. Every door that closed made space for the one that mattered. Her purpose is eternal. It's not about fame. It's about impact. It's about obedience. And angels have been assigned to help her stay on the path. She doesn't try to understand everything as it happens. That's not faith. That's control. And she's let go of control. She knows understanding will come when it's supposed to. Sometimes, clarity only shows up later. But her peace isn't built on details. It's built on trust. Her life is a divine assignment, and everything that touches it, people, pain, blessings, goes through God first. That's why she doesn't chase people. That's why she doesn't panic when plans shift. She's not the author of her life. She's the vessel. She's just playing her role with integrity. And because of that, she finds peace even in solitude. And when she stays silent, even her stillness carries strength. The storms may rise, pressure may build, but she continues to stand. Not because she can't be shaken, but because she's hidden from the enemy. When she's covered by grace, it's not her own strength that keeps her safe. It's the steady, unchanging presence of God. That's why she survives. That's why she keeps moving forward. That's why, no matter how hard life tries to push her down, she always rises again, with grace in her heart and purpose in her steps. She doesn't live in fear because she understands something deeper. She knows that favor speaks louder than any opposition. She doesn't let fear of failure, people's opinions, or the weight of the unknown control her life. She walks forward with courage, not because she knows exactly what will happen, but because she trusts that favor surrounds her like a shield. Favor works silently, but powerfully. It's the reason she stayed strong in places others broke. It's the reason she rose in seasons when others turned away. And that favor isn't from people, it's from God. When a woman is covered in favor, life doesn't follow the usual patterns. The rules may still apply, but the outcome shifts in her favor. She's protected in situations that overwhelm others. She gains strength where she was supposed to be weakened. She finds open doors where they were meant to stay shut. That's what favor does. It doesn't promise an easy journey, but it guarantees a victorious one. She's no longer distracted by what stands against her. She now understands that divine favor doesn't mean she won't be attacked. It just means those attacks won't work. Fear once stopped her. It once made her doubt herself. But now she's seen what God's favor can do. It's moved things around her. It brought her into places where no one knew her name. It gave her influence without needing connections. It connected her with people she never thought she'd meet. And it protected her when everything else seemed to fall apart. These days, she doesn't wake up worried about her enemies. She wakes up focused on her purpose. Fear is a distraction, and she doesn't have the time or energy to waste. She has too much favor over her life to keep looking behind her. Her confidence doesn't come from what she can do. It comes from knowing who goes before her, who walks beside her, and who defends her. She no longer fears the battles ahead because in the spirit she already knows she's won. Her part is to show up with faith and let favor do the rest. She can tell when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move forward and when to wait. That's part of what favor gives her. Discernment. It's not just about material blessings. It's about inner peace and clarity. Favor doesn't always show up as money or comfort. Sometimes it looks like peace in the middle of chaos, wisdom when things are unclear, and strength when she feels exhausted. Favor is knowing who you are even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. It's holding your ground when others want you to shrink back. It's saying no when the easy way would have you say yes. Favor doesn't get rid of opposition. In fact, it often draws it in. But she's not scared of that anymore. She's learned that favor makes the enemy nervous. That's why things feel heavier before breakthrough. That's why some doors shut without warning, because a better one is opening. That's why some people walk away. They were never meant to carry the weight of favor with her. She used to cry when those things happened. Now she sees it as God making space. Favor isn't just about what she receives. It's also about what she makes it through. She's been through things that could have broken her, but didn't. She's walked through storms that tried to take her faith, but only made it stronger. That's the power of favor. It doesn't always look like ease. Sometimes it looks like surviving when you didn't think you could. Favor is the reason she still has her peace, her purpose, her strength. It's the invisible force that blocks what was meant to destroy her. The weapons may form, but they won't win. She doesn't need to compare herself to others because she understands her favor is specific. It's not about being the most popular or the most successful. It's not something she earned or something that can be copied. It was designed just for her. So she can celebrate another woman's success without doubting her own. She can cheer for others while staying confident in her lane. She knows her moment is chosen, her season is protected, and her favor is secure. She doesn't need everyone to understand her. Favor often looks confusing to people who are watching from the outside. People might not get how she got where she is, or how she stays steady, or why things fall into place for her. But favor doesn't come with a long explanation. It speaks for itself. It moves quietly, but it shows up boldly. She doesn't waste her words trying to explain who she is. She lets her life speak. She's favored, but she's also faithful. She doesn't use favor as an excuse to do nothing. She shows up every day. She puts in the work. She prays with focus. She lives with meaning. She understands that favor must be cared for. It's not something she shows off. It's something she protects. She protects it by obeying God. She nurtures it by staying humble. She grows it by staying open to what God wants. Her life proves that favor and fear can't live in the same place. One will always push the other out. And she's made her choice. She's standing with God's promises. When fear starts to whisper, she reminds herself of how far favor has carried her. She remembers the miracles, the doors that opened, the ways she was protected. Those memories help her stay strong. She walks with more confidence now. She doesn't question every decision, every connection, every opportunity. If favor is in it, it flows naturally. If favor isn't there, she lets it go peacefully. That's how she keeps her peace. That's how she stays connected to purpose. She doesn't have to chase or force or trick her way into blessings. If God promised it, then favor will deliver it. Her job is just to stay faithful and wait for the right time. A woman walking in favor and not ruled by fear cannot be stopped. It's not because life doesn't knock her